In September 2023, on the 1st, if you are a member or an accrediting therapist with the BABCP, you need to have your clinical will in place. How are you getting on with getting organised? In this video, I'm going to tell you about an exciting Q&A we've got coming up to get you organised, some templates that will keep you organised, and talk you through a bit of what the process looks like as well, to try and demystify it if you've been putting it on the back burner and trying to avoid it like we sometimes do with these tasks. So a clinical will is a document that stipulates what will happen in the event of you not being able to go to work tomorrow. If you work within an organisation, it's likely that they will take care of this for you. But if you're in private practice, you need to have a clinical will in place. It's good practice, and it's really excellent that the BABCP are bringing this in as a standard for all their members. So I started panicking about therapeutic will back in 2020 when the pandemic hit, and we all thought we might be off for a long period of time with illness, and some of us were. And I put together a template which you can purchase at pocketsite.co.uk, which is a done for you template and some guidance notes as well. So we put that together, it's available there, and we've recently reviewed it to see what are we missing. Now the BABCP have put this out, is there any other information that we can put with it? And the only other thing that I can think that would be useful is that they've said they're going to audit this information to make sure you've got your clinical will in place and a clear process in place. So I've put together an audit form where you can document the key areas that you've got in place and kind of sign to say you've got them in place, outline a process that most of us will have. It will be very similar, or you can put in, there's space to do your own process. And then 2 sheets, one where you can document when you've reviewed the information on your clinical will, which ideally I think should be monthly. You should just cast your eye over it. Once you get into the habit, should it take no more than 10 minutes, make sure all the information is up to date and clear and still relevant. And then you just sign and tick to say that you've done it for that month. And then every kind of 3 to 6 months, I'm going to sit down with the executor of the will, which is the clinician that will carry out my will if anything happens to me. And we're just going to have a brief 5-10 minute chat, and I'll let her know of any changes or updates that have been made. So if you are struggling with this, if you've got lots of questions, we are doing a special Q&A next Wednesday, the 23rd of August, which is just the week before we have to get it in place and have it as it'll come into play as a professional requirement, as a professional standard. So we're doing a Q&A on Zoom. The link will be in the blog post attached to this. You can find it on Substack at Therapist Corner, or just DM me and I can send you a link. It's going to be open to everybody, so you can come along and just listen to the questions, get more information, or if you have some burning questions or just need a bit more motivation to get you going with it, come along to that Q&A. It'd be lovely to see you there, and we'll share the link if you haven't already downloaded to the audit documentation, so you can have that in place and start kind of maintaining the will that you've put in place in the forthcoming months and years. So a standard process of a clinical will would look like you would identify the next of kin that would inform the executor or executor of the will. The executor of the will would likely be a clinician that is also bound by confidentiality and has experience of working with caseloads, and it'd be useful to have them attached to a professional body to make sure they're attached to the same professional standards. The executor or executor of the will would then be given access to your clinical and business data, and the first task they have to do is cancel all your clinical appointments immediately. Once they've done this, they need to then let your team know, so that's your supervisor, your accountant, your VA, any referral or insurance companies that you're working with, so let your wider team know. Then they need to put an out of office on your website, your phone and your email to slow down any future communications. Then in our therapeutic will that we've put in place, the clinical will template, what we've suggested is that that you allocate some funds for the executor of the will, because this is, if they're going to have to close down your business, it's going to take them an awful lot of time. It might be that, you know, you're just going to be out of action for a few months, or it might be that you're not returning to practice. And it's a big job that you're asking them to do, and you want them to do it really well, and they'll have their own busy clinic themselves. So I'm allocating, you know, about a week's wages for this person to be able to do that. And also use part of that to have maybe some sessions with my supervisor, who kind of know the clients that I work with that might need that additional support, so they can have a conversation together, get a little bit more support, and have a conversation about my caseload, which I'd really like to happen. And then the next job of the executor or executor is to put together a more considered response for your clients and the next steps for your clients. So in the first few days, the immediate action is that your caseload is kind of closed down, that clients aren't turning up for sessions that are not going to be going ahead. That's the first important thing. And then over the forthcoming weeks, likely more information would be coming out about whether your business will need to be closed, or it needs to be put on hold. And at that point, the executor can put together a considered response to your clients and steps of how they can get an additional support and be moved on to other therapists, and what's going to happen with their notes. All that kind of stuff can be discussed and taken care of. And then it begins the process of either putting your business in clinical equipment and data all on hold, or closing it all down and making sure that confidential information is stored appropriately or got rid of appropriately as well. So it's not that complicated. It doesn't need to be that scary. This is a really good standard that's coming in to protect our business interests and our clients' interests, and, you know, meet the needs of our clients. And if ever we need to kind of put a hold on our clinical work, we can do that quickly and safely. And, you know, the stress of having these things in place and tightly firmed up and monitored and maintained well will take so much stress off our business. So we'd love to see you, if you can make it, next Wednesday the 23rd of August at 3:30 on Zoom. Either DM me, head over to Therapist Corner, or the link will be below here to the Zoom session. And, you know, you can always, if you can't make it live, submit your questions and we will make sure to answer them. Been enjoyable going through this, and I know you'll be doing an excellent job. You take care.